Hello everyone, and thank you very much for tuning into my channel. This video is gonna be about emote spamming, and I would like to say a special thank you to Skaegor for suggesting making this video 6 months ago. So yeah, I just want to share with you my favorite emotes that are spammable. And I would also like to come with some suggestions that can make your emote spamming experience that much better. But first things first. When you do an emote, you can cancel it out by moving in any direction that you want. When you're moving, you're gonna move instead of doing the emote, so the emote has been cancelled out. If you flick the movement stick or press the movement button real quickly, you can cancel out the emote without noticeable movement. And you can't visibly see that you're moving either if you do this properly. We can call this the controlled emote spamming. The second kind of emote spamming that you can do is the traditional emote spamming. This is performed by holding down the movement button in any direction and continuously pressing the emote button like a complete maniac. Next up, before the beginning of a match, you can either press or hold down the emote button in order to do a single emote before the battle begins. In order to spam emotes at this point, there is actually a way to do that. It is a sort of hidden feature. After winning a duel or a brawl match, then simply log onto your target and keep being logged on while the screen turns to black. And when the next round begins, you are able to either continuously pressing the emote button or even holding it down to go completely crazy before the round has even begun. In this case, you do not have to press the movement button, you can simply keep pressing or holding down the emote button. Another cool thing you can do here is that while the screen has turned to black, you can press the movement button towards you while pressing the emote button, and your character is gonna face away from your opponent. In some cases, you can actually even walk backwards after the round has begun, and that is a kind of funny effect. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I have done it a few times. So you can experiment with this as well. And now, onto some of my favorite emotes that you can spam. I thought we should begin with the king of emote spamming, the Law Daddy. And a great emote that you can spam with Law Daddy is called Glorious. It is a traditional type of emote spamming, meaning that you can just press the emote button to your heart's content. Another good one is called Pony. That requires you to log on to your target first, and then again, it's another traditional emote spamming that you can just go completely crazy about. There are bonus points if you can add an effect to this one that is as loud as absolutely possible. Another emote that I like to spam is called Hard-Headed. This one is a controlled type of emote spamming, meaning that you have to cancel it at a very specific point. If you have an explosion effect on this, it looks like he makes the ground explode by simply touching it with his health, and I think that's a pretty cool effect. So based on Law Daddy's ability to spam emotes, I would like to rate him on a scale from thumbs down to thumbs up, somewhere very close to a big thumbs up. And that is because he has no less than 3 emotes that are spammable, and none of them seem toxic, and they're kind of funny at the same time. Next up is one of the other gods of emote spamming, the Conqueror. Conqueror's signature move is the emote called PSYCHED. This is arguably the most spammable emote in the game. Just be aware that some people might find this a bit toxic, so don't spam it too much. Floor Smash is another emote that I like to spam with Conqueror. This is a controlled type of emote spam, and this makes it seem as if he can make the ground explode by touching it with his shield, and that is pretty cool, isn't it? I found it very tempting to do this on top of people after you defeat them, but that's a bit toxic, so maybe don't do that. So yeah, great emote spammer, but he might seem a little bit toxic at times, so I can only give him 5 out of 6 Knight Helmets. And the next one on my list is the Orochi. The Orochi has an out-of-the-box emote called Here I Am, and that one is very spammable. If you combine this with a very loud effect, this can actually be the most annoying emote of anyone in the whole game. So maybe don't spam this one too much. But an emote that is good to spam is the one called Cut to the Chase. This one is a controlled emote that you can do right after taking out your sword or right before putting it away again. That's gonna give a really cool effect that you're flashing your blade right before taking it away or right after taking it out. If you put a cool effect on as well, it's gonna look even better. So overall, the Orochi can be a little bit toxic, but still has some very spammable moves. So I'm gonna give him a toxic thumbs up. Next up is the Aramusha. He has got this emote called Throw It Down. This is not spammable in the traditional way, but you can spam it in a controlled way. If you do this correctly, you can make the illusion that he can throw down his swords and then magically make them come back again, just like Thor's hammer. This is a pretty cool effect, and you may be very tempted to do this on downed enemies. But again, this may be a little bit toxic, so don't abuse this too much. I wanted to include this one because I thought it looks kinda cool, but that is the only thing he brings to the table. So if I should rate him on a sushi scale from natto to premium salmon avocado fiesta roll, I'm gonna struggle to give it much more than a cucumber roll. But let me know if you agree or not. And for the next one, I have chosen the Shaolin. His out-of-the-box standard emote is called RESPITE, and that one is almost spammable in the traditional sense, but you do have to delay the movement a little bit, so it is actually a controlled one. It makes it look like he's flicking his staff around while saying really annoying noises, so that is just so annoying that it's kind of funny, so I just chose to include it here as well. But since the only purpose of this is to just annoy people, then I am not able to give it a very high score. So on a list from Bujong to Kodaijin, I'm gonna give this one a Zhong. And the next hero on my list is none other than the Raider himself. Another god of emote spamming. So his best emote to spam is the one called Shove Off. It is one that requires you to be locked onto your target. This can be spammed in the traditional way, so you simply just mash the emote button as much as you like. This is the best kind of hip thrusting in the whole game. Another of his very spammable emotes is the one called White Water. This one does require you to spend a little bit of steel to get, but it is really fun once you have it. This emote is also spammable in the traditional way, and it's gonna look totally like he's doing the Russian dance. There are bonus points if you decapitate an enemy's head, and then afterwards you just use this emote to make it look like he's kicking the head around. It doesn't have any effect on the head though, but it looks like it. There's a bit of a toxicity warning here, so use this at your own risk. Without a doubt, Raider is one of my favorite people to emote spam with. And I don't find the movements that toxic at all, so I'm gonna give him 2 thumbs up. Another important emote to know about is by the Warlord. It is the one called Why Me? It doesn't look spammable at first glance, but he does go down on one knee really fast in the beginning of the animation. And if you cancel this out by traditionally spamming the emote, it's gonna totally look like he's teabagging you. So if you're into teabagging, then this is the emote that you wanna use. There's a big warning from me here that this is very toxic, and you're probably not gonna make many friends by doing this. But that is totally up to you. You have been warned. So on a toxicity scale from water to cyanide, this one is gonna get a very strong League of Legends. And the next one is our newest hero, the Black Prius. He has got an out-of-the-box emote, which is called I'll Give You a Show. This one is very long and does not seem spammable, but you can do a controlled emote spam on this so that he is hitting his shield with his sword. It really looks like it is on purpose, and I do find this very great. It's kind of like you're cheering for your friends and, you know, you're urging people to come into battle with you. That is really cool. So on a darkness scale from white to black, I'm gonna give this emote itself a Theta Black. And the final hero that I have some suggestions for is Fatman Goki. He has got an out-of-the-box emote called Tantrum. This is a control type of emote spam, and you have to cancel it out immediately once the weapon hits the ground. Then it's gonna fly straight back up into his hands, and it's gonna look like it's kind of made of rubber and it's just bouncing around, and I think that's kind of funny. You can do this on top of dead people, but I actually don't find it that toxic because the whole thing just looks so stupid that you can't really be angry about it, or maybe that's just me. So overall, Shogoki is not a really good emote spammer, but I do like this one and I do think it is kind of funny. So I'm gonna give him all the leftover sushi from earlier. And that concludes my video about emote spamming. I hope you enjoyed it, and I do hope that I see you next time. Have a great Easter, or have a great day if you're watching this some other time. See you around.